Hello, this is Rats with Team 4545 League analyzing the game between Fireball and Nursey. This was played in team event number 53 in the fourth round in under 1600 section, and let's have a look. It's turns out to be a King's Gambit, and these are always interesting when we get a King's Gambit to make a video about. The old swashbuckling opening of yore. How many games in the 1800s were won with the King's Gambit? Until they finally figured out how to play against it, it certainly scored White a lot of points. So the romantic era of chess, if you're fond of this, if you're fond of tactics, this is the opening for you. But you could also lose just as easily. They have found resources for Black. And I don't know all the theory. As you know, I don't spend time on theory. That's your job. If you're going to play these book openings, I get out a book real quick. And it works for me. Okay, knight f6. Now, I don't know what the, again, what book lines are and what's best and where this thing diverged from theory, but it seems to me that Black got everything he wanted out of the opening. Even though White's getting some rapid development, this knight e3 just seems to be too good for Black. Okay, let me just show you what goes on here. White is giving up the bishop pair, and there's nothing wrong with what Black played. He gets a great game. But at the same time, this is why I consider that this opening has failed for White, because Black can play queen takes a e3 here, and Black is forcing the queens off the board, and at some point White's going to be trading queens. He can't avoid it. The only question is, does he take it now or does he take it next move? I'll just give you an example of now. You know, whether Black's taking or White's taking, and then you don't play knight e5. That might allow bishop e6, but you play knight g5. But Black has a interesting resource here, is to play bishop e7, and White may have trouble getting this later. You'll see. So, for instance, if bishop takes f7 check, king here, and if White castles, I was playing with this, e2 just does White in. He's busted. Everything is loose. His rook's loose, his knight's loose, which is guarding the bishop, and it just gets messy. So the alternative is to try knight g5 a move earlier. Okay, wait. Queen takes. No, I'm sorry. Okay, queen takes, knight g5 now. Okay, and Black can probably do something just as similar. Just play bishop e7 and be gaining some time here. If bishop takes f7 check, just put the king on f8, and nothing's guarding the knight, nothing's guarding the bishop, so that leaves knight here, and now you just take, and I guess the knight comes back here. But it seems to me like Black's got some potential here to do some dastardly stuff. It's complicated. I just looked at it a little bit. Bishop check, and what's White going to do? Now you have to take the queen first, and then you grab this, and Black's got a lot of pawns, you know, but then White's getting some back, I suppose. But just look at the zaniness this here. You know, does Black risk rook f2 check? What does he do? It's just interesting. It doesn't seem like White gets enough. So let's go back to the main position. And Black took this way, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just wanted to show just the other idea, just for the fun of it. And now, if anything, it seems like Black has the resource bishop e6 here. But Black finds this interesting move, and you have to applaud Black for taking a little risk here, because his king is going to lose castling privileges. And again, White has some trouble here. His knight on e5 is loose. He's going to have to deal with that. And Black can never castle. White may never be able to castle. He's in some trouble here. So if you like these wild types of positions with all kinds of chances to make mistakes, this is the opening for you to play the King's Gambit. And it's good if you're tactical. But unfortunately, if you're playing somebody that's prepared for it, he's just going to get a good solid game out of it. There's not much you can do about it. Okay, so White safeguards the knight by putting it on c4. d3 might have been a better square, and the reason I say that is simply because it covers b4. But black still has some resources here. He still has bishop g4, which I believe he played. And again, I can't say that this is the best choice, but that's up to the players to show us, share their thoughts. Okay, so bishop g4 comes in, and of course white planned it this way so he could get rid of that pesky pawn. So there is something to say about knight c4, but I'm figuring that maybe we'll get that pawn anyway. And now, like I say, the complications are there, the tactics. Now, black can't take the rook. He gets mated in one. He's got to deal with that. And he does. Takes another pawn with check. And then white finally develops a piece. So white's getting close to getting his men developed. He still has to put both rooks in play, but there's a couple of fundamental drawbacks with his position here. His king is exposed. And black still has 4 undeveloped pieces on the back rank, and it's not certain where his king finds safety. So, and black is really the one that's doing the attacking here. White's trying to, but at the same time, black's attacking as well. So, this is just a wonderful game as far as analyzing the tactics. And I see one major flaw here in this game, and that's the black clock. And there it is, 40 minutes and 32 seconds. White has managed to consume 27 additional minutes on the clock. Now, it's true, black got a little time to think on white's clock time, but still, maybe white played a good move that black wasn't prepared for, and he needs to sit down, buckle in, and find better moves. And although I can't fault his moves now, the clock is going to play a factor and cost black a chance to win this, and you'll see here just very shortly. And this is an excellent move, queen f5 check. Let's see how long he took for it. Okay, he had 32 seconds, so he lost 31 seconds, so he spent 76 seconds on the move. But now comes a critical point, and I'll have you pause the video, and the question is black to play and do the best he can. Okay, have you resumed the video? If you have, what did you come up with? Now, it's just, to me, it's plain and simple. It's a simple one-move tactic. How does white defend against bishop c5 pinning the queen? The queen's a goner. There's nothing white can do to save his queen, right? He's got a spite rook check. That's it. And black gets out of check, and the queen is gone. I just don't see a continuation for white here. Black is dead winning. Dead winning. Okay. But what black did instead was, now let's watch his clock. He's got 40 minutes and 1 second. Let's see how much time he took on his move. Well, he took 2 minutes elapsed plus the increment came back. That was enough time to see the move. It was more than enough time to see the move, but he didn't see it and didn't play it. So now it's white's turn, and since the black king is exposed, we've got to go win our piece back. But at least black's getting some development now. But still, let's kind of stop and reassess this position for a moment. Black is a pawn ahead, but the pawn is not significant. We're not at an ending. Black will utilize that pawn by eventually creating a pass c pawn, if he can get there. The white king is still exposed, but at least he's a little closer to the side of the board than black is. He's going to try and castle artificially here with king to g2, unpinning the knight. The black king is open to a direct check, and black's going to have to find a move here. What kind of plan can he implement? It's kind of tough here. Knight d7, king c8 kind of plan, but then if white attacks that knight on d7 with another piece, it's going to be pinned, and black's going to be defending. Maybe play h5 here just to get a tempo on the queen so that the rook can come up to h6 and then try and run the king over to h8 for protection. That's a lot of moves, and white's got plenty of time and an open board to find things. He'll be playing moves like king g2, rook f1, rook a e1 in the meantime, and also the black queen side remains undeveloped. So Black could have just had a decisive victory just 2 moves ago, and instead he's struggling. So he's got to use his time and find a plan. Now he finds the right move just a couple moves late. Let's look at the time he spent. Okay, he 4 seconds plus 37. He gained or lost only 4 seconds on his clock, so that's how much time he spent on it. He lost some time or gained some time, but he lost only 4 seconds from the 45. But this in turn helps White go where he wants to go, out of the danger of the F file. And meanwhile, the Black King is, you could say, is even more exposed, because now the bishop is no longer shielding a check on the E file if that comes down to it. And Black tries this approach. He develops his rook, and he's still going to need to do some defending in here. And White starts finding some good moves. And why is White finding good moves? Because he's been taking his time. He does it again. He spends a good 3.5, 4 minutes on this move and finds a check. And Black's going to have to interpose something. Now, if he puts the bishop back there, White can just take it off and win his pawn back and still have some kind of an attack going. And that's kind of what happens. Just have a look. Black didn't want to walk into a pin, and now, see, there it is. Now material is even. Now Black had his Wissenszug check e2, but it wasn't any good. White just attacks it with king f1. But look at the situation Black's in now. Where does he do now? His king is just caught right in the center. The White king is still semi-exposed, but at least he's out of danger. And finally, Black's got a little help for the queen. He's got a rook out, but it's White's move, and White's checking, meaning White's going to be finding another attacking move. So then Black defends by interposition, but the knight is pinned. So White just carries on the pressure, and this is a good move. It attacks the queen and keeps an eye on e6. Depending on where the queen goes, the knight could hop into e6. It looks like it's going to hop into e6. There's nothing Black can do about it. And Black plays here, and now comes the check. And now the king, he's headed for safety on b8, if you could really call b8 safe. Still a couple of drawbacks. He's hemming his rook in, so Black's going to be playing this position a rook down. And it's still going to take a few moves for that rook on a8 to get into play. So I would safely say Black is lost here. And he's losing simply because he missed the win of the queen. So White just continues, shifts the queen over with check. And what's Black going to do? He's in trouble. If king b8, queen c7 is mate. So Black has to give up a piece. And the game is resignable at this stage, but Black played on. And the finish is kind of interesting. There were some opportunities missed. I'll show it to you here in a second. Okay, it's just increased the pressure. Now, here, stop the video and White to play and do the best he can. Okay, you've resumed. White to play and do the best he can. Let me show you. You sack the queen, then you give a check, and Black has one legal move. And you have a very pretty checkmate. So White missed that, unfortunately. But, you don't always have to find the best wins, the quickest wins. I miss them, you'll miss them. What White played is still winning. It doesn't matter in a way, but we like to be precise when we can. And this threatens a mate in one, and it kind of threatens to do similar mates. So Black has to defend against that. He grabs the knight, and White finds this continuation. Now the king can't take, again, one legal move. And now, at this point, White stop the video, White to play and do the best he can. Okay. What you should have found is queen e5 check. What's queen e5 check do? Well, it forces queen c7. And there's a mate in 2. Oh well, missed it. But what White did was fine. There's really no defense. Okay, check. Now he's checked on the wrong square, but that's okay. He's still got a win here. White visualized a winning continuation and played it. And now Black's forced to go back here. Now White can get a similar mate I won't make you find it because you know it. Queen f4 check, forcing queen c7, then rook mates. But white foresaw this, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just winning a queen by force, and I believe the rook falls too. There's nothing. I don't know how black can save him unless he gives up a mate and one with queen takes. That's the only way to keep from losing the rook, but that loses the king. So just a couple more moves and the game's over. Now why is black playing on? But anyway, there you get it. Okay, it's a wonderful game. It was full of opportunities for both sides, and that's what's going to happen in a wild opening like the King's Gambit. So be forewarned. It's something dangerous. If you're not ready for it, you could lose with either side of the board. Thanks for bearing with me. Good game, Fireball. Nice try, Nursey. I wish you both great luck next game. Thanks, everyone, for your time and consideration, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.